And this is The In Show. And I'm your host, Gus Summers. Good to be back with you today. We got another great show. We have in-studio guest, Miss Anna Siqueiros from the Siqueiros Foundation of the Arts. So really want to get into this whole aspect that I'm sure a lot of people don't know.
Well, I'd first like to address more of the mural ordinance here in Los Angeles. In 2002, there was a ban on muralism, as everybody may or may not be aware of, but amongst the muralists and the artists in the fine art world, they are very aware of it.
Right.
Los Angeles has had a rich history of muralism, which has brought a lot of tourism and helping to fund the different programs throughout the city. However, due to this ordinance, it has really displaced a lot of muralists and a lot of artists and doing what they do best,
Right.
which is to bring creation to the forefront for humanity. And now we're dealing with this very vital issue that is, I personally feel that is an attack on creators.
Yes.
This is something that was brought into the city with my great uncle David Alfaro Siqueiros, and who brought muralism to the city, and with a lot of controversy. He spoke the truth, and our family legacy is about the truth and about exposing the truth through a creative aspect and peace. So we believe that that needs to be addressed even till today. So I'm here before you to bring into account these very vital issues that are being done. In 2008, to give you a background, there was a motion that allowed muralists to continue on through Rosenthal. Councilman Rosenthal was very much for the arts, believed in the artist, knew their mission, knew it was a part of the creator. And residing in Venice, he knew how the importance of the creative movement has been. You can go back to Soho and the whole 9 yards across the United States. But let's not forget about where muralism came from. It was deemed frescoes. And let's talk about the Last Supper. Would we actually know what happened during those times without the artist being present? Let's go back a little further into the caveman. Would we be able to depict what history has found before us through those cave paintings? So many millions of dollars in trying to figure out where we came from, and that is the big question of all. And artists have had that say in that. And now here in Los Angeles, that has been known for so many murals, has been over 4,000 murals, is now down to 1,600 murals. And it's a very sad event at this time. So what's happened before us is that the city had asked for muralists all over the city to come together, in which we did, under the assistance of Beckman Tanner. The artists got together, the muralists got together, everybody that loved the arts came together and proposed an ordinance. Unfortunately, the ordinance that has come into play is being dissected, I would say, like that of a scientific experiment of a frog. So in coming down to this, what the issues are raised is the number one issue for me is, what is muralism? Muralism is a hand-painted, done by an artist who instills the spirit onto a wall. It touches the spirit and the hearts of others who come to see and invoke the spirit within themselves, depicting and relating to the commonality of humanity and the history and the stories of the past. So now presently we're now in this conflict that through this ordinance somehow digital printing is now considered a part of muralism.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. The ordinance was redefining what a mural was, am I correct?
Yes, without the expertise of our critics.
And that's why, if I can jump in, that's why when a lot of people drive through LA, where there once were murals, now there are these large digital art banners.
Exactly, and it's a very sad scenario. When we're dealing with vinyl, we're dealing with toxins. We're dealing with landfills. Let me break this down to you. The avenue of the vinyl does not adhere or absorb the paint into the vinyl. What happens is that when the vinyl breaks down, it releases the gases that lifts off the paint off of the vinyl. Therefore, within a matter of the maximum amount of time, 2 years, you will be left with a banner with no image. So when we're talking about, actual muralism, if you see these frescoes, these murals, just like my great uncle had done with America Tropical with the assistance of the Getty Foundation, that over 24 years had put in over $10 million in restoring a mural, that image is still able to be seen. That is over 24 years of just actually doing the process of restoration. This mural was actually done in 32. And so in 1932, we're able to depict a part of history. Now, artisans are known for instilling the history for the youths of tomorrow. I don't see this with vinyl. The vinyl has always been put under the sign ordinance, yet it's being considered of being put under the mural ordinance. My concern is that once this is done, if it's in stone, we have a real serious problem on our hand, because we are going to possibly set a precedence for others to follow in. And it would be devastating. It would be devastating for the future of our youth. It would be devastating for us today, and for the disrespect for the past. And so I'm really concerned about that also. The idea is that they want to consider it under restoration, as a form of restoration. That's impossible. If anybody out there knows, their art history, it's actually ludicrous. And it's not going to be very well founded that the city of Los Angeles is very unknowledgeable about the fine art world. And that concerns me too. Right. I know that there's very intelligent people out there, and I think that before they're too quick to make action, that they need to really look into the basis of the facts that existed way beyond, back into the caveman days all the way to now. And so that's a vital concern for me, is instilling the ability to represent and support UMPA, and to keep the paintbrush in their hand or the aerosol in their hand, because the wall is able to bring texture out, and it's able to touch a soul. So I don't see that with vinyl. I deem vinyl as a part of a sign.
Right. So the mural is really the voice of the community, the voice of the city. So,
absolutely.
So when you bring a muralist from Los Angeles, and they're going to do, do something outside of a building, they're capturing the spirit.
That's right.
And that will keep on for 80, 100 more on years.
Well, we don't know. But look at how long the Last Supper was. Could this be our Last Supper?
Right.
You know, that's the big concern. You know, it is a community. It very much is involved in community. The people that come to watch, the people that bring the artist food, all the energy that is established in that. You know, we had done a mural called La Voz de la Gente, which means the voice of the people, where over 30 multicultural artists came together. That says something. It says something, and you know, we need to continue instilling in this. We had a lot of youth involved as well, and so that's a very important issue. The other issue is that they're also stating that they only want single house dwellings, and they're going to eliminate that. So in other words, if you wanted a muralist to come out and be able to paint even in your home, they're not going to allow that to happen either. So and we're also talking about the fees of muralists that are going to be deemed to have to pay the $60, which you know, the muralists have suffered extremely during these last years, and you know, they had so much money for the abatement program and the whitewashing of so many murals, yet now they still want to continue to prosecute the artists by initiating more fees. The other thing is the prior artists, that the muralists that had done murals throughout the city, you know, if we pass this ordinance, they're also suggesting that they're not going to be grandfathered in, that they will also have to be registered with the city and the Cultural Affairs Department. You know, in dealing with and seeing the Cultural Affairs Department's view on depicting and being the art critics and stating what is a mural and what is not a mural, and asking the muralist, you know, several questions in which I'll go over with you on. Working definitions, digitally hand rendering and printed murals. Where contributors are collaborators used on the conceptualization and development of the mural imagery. Were studies done for the site placement of the mural composition in relation to the viewer and to the architectural elements? Is the original imagery of the mural hand-generated and transferred to a screen? Is the mural image hand-generated and hand-painted directly on a screen? Will the mural be printed on a high-rated biodegradable rigid or fabric substrate? Is the digital file and resolution no less than 3.2, 12 inches at 300 pixels per inch? Is the resolution of the mural print a minimum of 600 dpi or over? Preferred resolution is 1440 dpi. Question. Is the mural composed of multi-panels, individual panel dimensions no larger than 4 feet wide by 8 feet tall? Is the mural image one of a kind? Is the mural associated with or a part of the series of imagery that are located next to the surrounding vicinity? Is the mural printed with the highest rated archival ink for longevity? Does the digital mural have any anti-graffiti coating or laminate? If not, are the materials used compatible with paraffin, wax, graffiti coating? You know, it's quite amazing to me because there's a whole lot of questions. And, you know, and who is going to, with the budget cuts of the Cultural Affairs Department, it really concerns me, who's going to be policing this? You know, are they going to contribute the abatement program towards the funds of policing to see, or is the muralist, and are they really have that certification to deem that they're educated in the arts in that aspect? To even say, and it's redundant, you know, I'm also a graphic artist as well, so it's redundant for me to see the, you know, resolution and the DPI and the it doesn't work. You know, it's not hand generated. I can see something like wheat paste, in which you know, other muralists have used, but it is hand painted on that wheat paste, and it's done as a process so that way if there's any damage to that particular area, that they're able to take that section off or be able to paste it back on again for the longevity of it. And as far as archival inks, we have yet to be able to confirm that it in fact is going to last the longevity of over 200 years.
No one's been around for 200 years to test it. But, you know, that leads perfect into what I was going to say. But we know frescoes, outside of restoration, do have a longevity of decades, if not centuries, because we have examples of that. And, and like you said, there's no proof of the modern technology lasting that long.
Right. And then the other issue was having to do with the deregulation of the murals, that the owners have the right to deregulate it. And, you know, they gave it 6 months. And I'm like, how much disrespect does an artist get? There was a time where artists were revered as the closest to the creator.
Yes.
The spiritual connection to the unknown, yet they are being treated this way.
Right.
You know, we already are suffering, our youths are suffering through being able to be able to conjure up these direct visual aspects of helping people identify with what the reality of life really is depicting. And so what we're finding out is that now those who are not educated in the arts are actually making decisions for our youth. The murals really have a great deal to do with gang prevention, and we have to look at this avenue of, are we helping our youth, are we hindering them? You know, we can be able to group together. The arts have been cut out of the educational system, yet it incorporates all the GE classes, the general ed classes, such as math, history, English, all of it is incorporated under art, and yet they're the first ones to be cut.
Amazing, amazing. And they're the ones that have the biggest impact as they grow and mature.
Absolutely.
On the artist and the child.
Absolutely.
And so do you think, I know you go to a lot of the city council meetings and you try to, you know, inform everyone. Do you, in your opinion, do you think it's just a matter of them not being fully informed of what it takes to make a mural, what it is to be an artist, that they're looking at it maybe just from a business standpoint versus a creative standpoint?
I do. I think it's ignorance is what it is. And, you know, I mean, ignorance might be blessed, but it's sure, a lot of people sure suffer around it. And this time it's about the creator that is suffering around that. I recently went down to Chicano Park. I actually got back from San Diego yesterday, and dealing with the people associated with the Chicano Park, you know, it's amazing to me that they, you know, muralists came over together and made this beautiful park of depicting murals. And people from everywhere have been involved with that. Muralists coming from all over the countries and the nations, coming together and depicting this. Now it's now funded, and now organizations have run, and it's been regenerified into a you know, pleasant place, and they're trying to keep it upgraded. So, you know, we have a choice. We have the ability to come and support the future of our youth and our artistic ability. And muralists have a great part in depicting and instilling the truth within our youth.
Right. That's a, you know, wonderful story. You know, that, I mean, wonderful way to bring that out. A lot of people don't realize what it takes. Am I correct? To, you know, everyone will, you know, draw, but it's not like they go out and spend, how long does it take to make a large mural? You know, if it's like what's on the side of the freeway, that would take how long?
Well, depending on how many, community members come together and muralists come together, and usually they do come together, it could be done in one day. La Voz de la Gente was done in one day.
Wow, because everyone's effort comes in. Wow.
Right.
Okay,
And
amazing.
muralism isn't about, self-loathing. It's not about the ego.
Right.
We want to step away from the ego. It's about community building. It's about getting to know, to be able to have some commonality within the community as well as with other muralists. And the other avenue is that it's not just your arm or your head. It's your whole body.
Right.
You're immersed into it.
Yes.
You're immersed into the spirit of the energy that is around and how long and how it's going to impact the community for years to come.
Right. We have a matter of fact. We have a new mayor who will be coming in pretty soon. And if you had a chance to talk to that new mayor, what would you tell him about the murals in this ordinance? I mean, what would be your approach to them?
Well, this is a very extraordinary topic because I first always ask questions before I start dictating. I believe in Gandhi's way of doing things in a more peaceful aspect of initiating a conversation like that. I would like to see his perspective on the creative force and how he feels that it is important amongst our youths.
Right. To see if they have the viewpoint of they understand the artist versus
Right.
just a very ledger side, dollars and cents and such.
Right.
Oh, fascinating. So, we only have a few more minutes, but right now, with this ordinance, if you could see it be directed in a particular way, which way would you want it to? How would you want that directed? Vinyl gone, muralist, the way it should be and has always been done. Is that pretty much how you see it?
I could see a $20 fee for each mural. That sounds reasonable, with, the artist has to buy the paint. Let's not forget, the artist has to use its energy. It's got to get community involvement. It has to, we all have a lot of expenses, and to keep on trying to reach more into the pocket of an artist is ludicrous.
Right.
We want to help this be a more colorful world,
Yes.
not deemed with, concrete and smokestacks.
Right. And that's pretty much you can take that as a rule of thumb. If death by 1,000 cuts, it's put another tax, another fee. Right there, you can probably tell. Well, you guys you never been an artist because you know what it takes.
Well,
brushes, paints, and everything else.
Well, what I'd like to see is the artists, the muralists, the supporters, the art collectors have all come together, and they wrote the ordinance what they deemed fit, what they were counseled with. They worked with the city, they worked with the planning commission, just passed what they were agreed upon, and
Right.
and not allowing anybody else to input things that don't need to be there.
Right.
The vinyl murals need to go under the sign ordinance. It requires the fire department to initiate whether it's fire retardant or not. And that's where it was beforehand. Digital printing was under the sign ordinance, and it was on a banner, and it should be just like any other banner.
Right.
And we need to have freedom of speech even through our houses. That's our First Amendment.
Right.
Of single house dwellings. Our fees need to be waived. Please take an initiative if you're out there and, you understand or you appreciate, all these things that artists have done for centuries. I mean, we wouldn't have a toilet paper roll if it wasn't for the artist's invention.
Right, exactly. Where can everyone find out more about it? Where they can get involved and get more information about it?
Well, you're welcome to go to the UMPA website, which is UnitedPaintersAndPublicArtists.org. There's an enormous amount of information there. There's also petitions There's letter of recommendation. We're asking the public to please come out and support the muralist by sending letters into the councilman of your support.
Fantastic. Is there another meeting or anything coming up to talk more about the ordinances at City Hall?
Well, and right now it's about, we just got done with the planning commission, so we will be headed to before the councilman to make a decider vote to see if the ordinance will pass as it is.
Okay, and that will be in the next
3 months. It
next
was
month, okay.
it was 90 days, so now we have maybe 2.25 months.
Okay. So sometime in March, April, about that time?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure you can probably find out more about when the actual date is. Is there, just a couple more questions. Is there you had mentioned Rosenthal as a councilman who was favorable to this. Is there a couple other council people on the board that you feel, have an understanding? Or is he really the one that, captures the idea of what's going on?
Well, I'd like to say that Jose Huizar really understands his avenue, but yet he's reneged on some issues. I don't think he's very clear to us as far as, really bringing a team of support. I would say that Rosenthal was our main person that was the really backing us up and bringing that motion so we can continue to do our work for humanity.
Fantastic. And there's someone who understands the artist and the whole concept of what you're trying to do.
Well, the importance of the art as well and the impact upon the community.
Right.
That's deemed a very spiritual man.
Yes, that's wonderful. We just got time for one more question. And how about you? What is there a project that you are involved with right now? I know you're busy. You give your time away all the time. You're always everywhere. You were just in San Diego, like you said.
Right. I mean, I really believe I grew up around art. I've been an artist. Been painting murals since I was 3. My concepts, but art is not a one-man show. It is about the people and how your impact as an artist can be. Through this time, the family has gotten together and started the Siqueiros Foundation of the Arts, and so our mission statement is to unite and bring valor to our collective consciousness through compassionate awareness to the masses, providing artists with recognition, respect, and reward as they bring past into present. Wonderful. And what is that web address? It's the Siqueiros Foundation of the SiqueirosFoundations.org.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm so glad you were able to make it. I know you drove all the way up from San Diego, and I know you're going to go to another little thing right now, and you took time to pass by and tell us about this important issue. And love to have you back as things develop, as the meeting comes up. That way you can definitely tell us more about what's going on. Well, thank you, Gus. Thank you, everyone. I really hope that this gives some clarity as the importance within this city. We don't want it. We don't want to be a laughing stock of the art world. We really don't, and we don't want to disrespect. Have the city disrespect the past. Yes. And definitely call Councilman Rosenthal, right? And Jose Huizar, all the councilmen. Call everybody. Call everybody. Write your letters. Show initiatives. Show support, and and we'll keep on doing what we do best, which is to put color in the world and hope, and instill faith in our future. Beautiful. Put color in the world. I love that. Keep putting color in the world. And again, thank you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Thank you. You bet. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you've been listening to The In Show. And we had in-studio guest, Miss Anna Siqueiros. And we were talking about what's been happening with the LA Murals. And, of course, please, send your letters, make your phone calls to the councilmen, and let them know that the state of LA Murals is very important to you. And, of course, take a look at the Siqueiros Foundation at the SiqueirosFoundation.org and find out more about what they're doing and how you can help. Well, you've been listening to The In Show, and I've been your host, Gus Summers. And be sure to visit us at theinshow.com, where you'll be able to catch today's interview and everything else that we are doing. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those great social media sites where we can definitely connect. And we'll definitely be back next time, so you hang in there. And ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.